Hello, everyone. I see lots and lots of people jumping in. It's so excited to see all of you. I hope that everybody had a great Christmas break. If this is your first time back with me on a live, or even if this is your first time on a live, I'm Nikki. I've got on my warmer clothes today with it being January, and it's just really rainy here. So my hair's even in a bun because it was just going crazy. So we've got lots of fun stuff today. We have a live stream with the new January release from Altenew, and we are going to be making some amazing cards. I am going to try to get through 2 complete cards. We'll see how we're doing on time, but we're going to try to get through those. I saw y'all got some rainy weather as well. I saw somebody had some snow. I definitely wouldn't mind just a little bit of snow. It's always fun just for like a couple of days in Tennessee. That's always nice. All right, so as far as what we're working on today, you've probably seen this one on social media. This is one of the cards we'll be doing. It is a stenciling card, but we added tons of texture. So when I was thinking about this live stream and looking at the cards and just trying to think what would really work, we had been talking about doing sympathy cards, and I really need to get those done, and I like to get those done at the beginning of the year. So I decided that we would do a couple of sympathy cards, but we would add in some fun techniques of adding texture to your cards. So I will switch to this overhead camera in just a second, and you'll be able to see these a little bit better. We do have an exclusive coupon code today from Altenew, so make sure you stay tuned. We will be mentioning that in the chat, and I'll pop it up in a little bit. Oh my goodness, it's sunny and 82. Oh my goodness, Judy, that's nice. Are you in Florida or where? Okay, so yes, I love the roses too. This is a really fun stencil. It is called, the other one that I made for this release is right here. We're not gonna be making this one today, but this is the other one if you see it on social media. All right, let me change my camera to the overhead so you can see these and pop my face up. All right, so my camera settings may be a little bit different than they were. If you haven't tuned into the channel, then you may not know, but there's a brand new craft room tour out. And so a lot of the cameras and things had to be taken down to film. And so if things seem a little bit off today, just know while I'm doing this, I'm working on getting it right. If I'm a little off center, just know all of it's going back, and you definitely want to catch that craft room tour. I actually wanted to talk to you about whether you wanted to ever attempt a live stream craft room tour. If y'all ever want to do that, make sure you comment in the comments to let me know. So here are the cards that I made for this release. Like I said, we're not going to be working on this one today, but we will be working especially on this big, beautiful rose stencil. And I know sometimes it's hard to see on camera, but I want you to look at some of the texture that we did. If you can see it, can you see how it's got texture? I'm going to show you the products that we used for this, and we will get started stenciling on this card and talking about it. See, I see Arlene. Thanks, Altenew, for showing up. And Rachel's out there. She's helping us out today. It's awesome. Let me grab these stencils. This is the stencil that we will be using. It is called Stencil Art Majestic Roses. And these are big roses. You can see if this is an A2 card, this takes up the majority of an A2 card. Okay, so real fun to do, looks amazing. The thing about stencils is that they make you look like an expert colorist, which I'm just gonna say I need help with. So I love having stencils. This stencil set has 7 different stencils in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start setting up my paper while we talk about this. We are gonna be using some new colors to Altenew as well. That's where those beautiful purple and sage greens come from. So I'm gonna show those to you too while I get this all set up. We're gonna be using for our purples this new mint. I think it's called Moonlit. If you can see those purples are beautiful. And then we'll be using these greens today. And this is just for our first card. Our second card, we're going to be playing with press plates, and we're going to look at texture with press plates. Okay, so I'm going to keep my purples out because we're going to start with those, and we will get started. The purple layers of this stencil, there are 4 of them, so we'll use all 4 of these colors. So I'm going to grab a couple brushes. Grab this one, we'll grab my dark purple brush. Now when I do my brushes, a lot of times I have one that's light and one that's dark. And then I don't have to do a whole lot of cleaning, which is nice. So yeah, I saw out there, Deborah said the craft room tour was wonderful, awesome. I'm so glad you got to see that. We had lots of fun with that. We talked about ways to store some Altenew products in there. Let me grab this piece of paper. Now, you know, if we're doing a stencil that we're gonna be using our wonderful sticky mat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this piece of paper to the sticky mat and get stenciling, because I know that this will take us a little bit of time. Doing a very complicated stencil like this is going to take you some time, but it is magical, so magical. Okay, so it looks like I see Arlene and Joyce, and I see Jamie, thank you. So our first layer of the stencil, and I went on and wrote on my stencils because when you're live, it is really hard to see. There's writing on each of these Altenew stencils, but I used a marker and put my number on there just to make it a little bit easier for all of you. So if you haven't stenciled with me before, I'm gonna move these up just a little bit, sorry, just to keep them out of the way. Do you see how this mat has a grid on it? Okay, for this, and especially lining my stencil up at first, I'm gonna make sure that I've got this on this A2 grid, and the A2 grid is kind of underneath my card. And the reason is because I want to know where the middle is, and I want to make sure that I fit everything I want to on the card, okay? Because I want to get as much of these roses on there as I possibly can. So here's about where I'm going to go. I got here. I am, because I'm taking up most of the paper here, I'm going to add just a little bit of tape. Let's see. So I always add a little tape. So tell me, did you get some new crafty products for Christmas? Anybody get a new Better Press and excited to see how it works if we can get to this second card? I would love to hear, because we're going to be doing a little bit of that too. So we'll be doing some Better Press with this card and creating some texture in this background. So I love texture on cards, and you will see me talk about it and come up with different ways. It just makes them more realistic to me, and I love it. So it's been very fun. Let's see, and I don't know that I've mentioned it yet, but in this live stream, if you have a question, make sure that you pop up the word question and then ask it, especially if I'm looking down and ink blending. I may not see it as easily if it passes by without all of the beautiful stuff there. Sorry. Yes, so somebody's got a new Better Press. Yay, we can play with that. I came up with a technique with the Better Press this time that I haven't tried before, and I don't know that you have to do it this way, but it really gave me some very nice texture on the card. So I'm excited to show y'all that as well as we get through this live stream. Now, we will have an exclusive coupon from Altenew today. Rachel, you are welcome to pop that in the chat in the next few minutes, and I will pop it up on the screen as well. As far as things that are happening, I am Nicki of Nicki Hearts Cards. If you're new to me, make sure you hit the like button on the thing and make sure you subscribe. Got lots of fun things coming up. One thing that you may want to know if you're an Altenew fan, if you know me and Altenew, you know that I love, and I know this light purple is so light, it's going to be very hard for you to see. So I'm just kind of trying to get some color down so that it's there, but I'm not doing a whole lot of worrying about this layer, because this layer is so light. It makes a difference in the stenciling later because you need those lighter areas. But really, when you're first starting it out like this, it's very hard to see the color for you on camera. So I'm just getting down as much purple as I can, and then we'll move on to our layer 2. Oh, somebody got some glass board magnets. Nice. All right. I have a glass board. They are very nice. I have a hard time filming with it, so I'm working on figuring out how to film with it. So things that I have coming up too that I want to tell you about, I do have a class using Altenew products coming up that's free, and it's going to be a really cool event. It's called the Card Making Stash Summit. We can't register for it just yet. Registration doesn't start till Monday, but you're going to hear me talking about that on social media, and I'd love for y'all to come. There will be freebies, there will be all kinds of stuff. There will be a paid ticket option and a non-paid ticket option. So we'll have lots of options, and I'm going to be running a lot of live sessions with that summit. So I'd love for you to get to craft with me on Zoom and chat and all that. So I hope all of you will be able to be there. Yeah, oh good, some people got some press plates. So the press plate that we'll be using today is from the new release, and it's called Wildflower Whispers, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get it out in a few minutes and show you. So I wanted to get started on sympathy cards for the year, and so that's kind of one of the reasons that I made both of these cards that way, is because we'd been talking about sometimes those are really hard to make, and it's nice to look at it from two different views. Do you make it sad and dreary? Do you make it bright and colorful? Do you make it midway colorful? I'd love to hear what your theory on sympathy cards are, but I know that for me, especially if it's someone close, I like to have the card pre-made, because sometimes I am not functioning well enough to make them a card when they need it the most. I want to get it in the mail, and then if I want to make them a special card later to follow up on that, I do. So y'all tell me your theory. Yay, a new summit. Yeah. I know, I know. It's not open for, do not register for it yet. If you, there may be a way to, you'll see that it opens on Monday, but just make sure you use my link. That summit is one that whoever's link you click on first, it makes a difference, even if you're doing the free ticket. So let's look. You'll see that this purple is here. So you got our big purple done. And even though you can't see it great on camera, you can see it now that I pull the reveal off. Isn't that awesome? So let's go to our next layer of the flower. You're going to start seeing it come together on those next layers. So I saved my tape and I moved to the next layer. So I've layered these, and I always would say start with your layers. You want to start with the first layer like it's labeled, and that's usually the biggest part of the card. So a lot of times, okay, so Arlene said she keeps hers neutral. Sorry. I have to look at this for a minute to make sure I get it laid down right here. I have to think with my thinking cap for just a minute. Make sure that I got it where I need it to be. Okay, let's get that tape down. Sometimes in a live, it's a little hard to tell where it goes, but it's got these nice lines that line up with the petals, especially when you're on your lighter colors. Sometimes it's a little harder to tell. So we're going to move to our second color, which is Glacier Iris. Yay, Patty, so glad to have you. I'm still going to use my light one for Glacier Iris, and then I'm going to move into these two darkers, which I actually put out of order. We'll go Dreamy Periwinkle and Twilight Sky. So what are you working on in your craft room right now? Is everybody organizing? Are they, sorry, I'm looking here. I think I'm going to make sure on this one, sorry. I'm gonna do the top half first. We'll go top half first. And then we're gonna come in with the bottom half. Can't remember if I have to adjust that bottom half. Let me look really quick. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Rachel. Yay, and I'm so glad to have you, Patty. We are doing some fun stenciling with this card. I love these purples. They're so fun. I think these are sold out, but they will be coming back. Don't worry. They are a beautiful, kind of like, I don't know how you would say it, but not super bright purples, but they're perfect for the mood of a sympathy card, or just for a beautiful, luxurious floral. I feel like these are almost like a vintage purple. Does that sound right to people? Yeah, Judy said she's doing some more organizing. Judy, I think I saw you commenting on my organization video. I think I saw that earlier. I think you were watching the craft room tour, if I'm not crazy. And I'm just bringing in this darker color from the outside in, but making sure I get the details that go along here, okay? There's so many layers to this. You don't have to be crazy accurate, but it does look nice to have a little bit of shading there. So I'm going to make sure I add plenty right through these really fine details, okay? Ooh, yay. That sounds like a good Christmas present. Awesome. I'm glad you're watching on your way to the movies. Okay, so when you have a little piece that sticks off your stencil right there, it wants to raise up. So here's what I do. I tend to get some ink on here, tap it off, and then just follow that. Sometimes I even hold it down with my thumb just to make sure I get a good impression of it. You could also use a little tacky spray on your stencil to make sure, but generally if I don't rub it the wrong direction, it stays where it should and it looks good. So these two that stick off, I'm going to be following them in this direction because otherwise I'll push that part of the stencil back up and I won't get my good details. So just kind of follow along. I'm using these Altenew blending brushes. I don't know if she put it in the chat yet, but these are going to be our coupon is going to be on these beautiful brushes. I love these brushes and I use them all the time. These are my favorites from Altenew. All right, so that first one is done. Let me look really quick and just make sure that I don't have to move that stencil. And what I'm saying is it's got my thing here, but where it's hitting on the page, I might need to move that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at it with my leaves and see how it fits. Yeah, that still fits fine. Well, it's the leaves there. Let me look at adjusting it just a little bit. I think we're gonna have to go. It really is gonna look nice no matter where it is, but I'm just trying to see where it looks best with the leaves. Sorry, guys. So if that leaf is coming off here and here, the bottom. Okay, so it does. That's what it is that the leaf goes over an area. Ah, see. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I have to look. So there's going to be some leaves that go over the middle. So I'm getting this nice and lined up. So I did move it just a little bit. Don't think I have to do that, but sorry. Ooh, up north. Whitley Bay. I'm not sure what state that is. And either way we do this, it's not going to matter too much because we are going to be putting this together with the middle is going to be embossed, and so you're going to have a sentiment right in the middle. Sorry, I'm just a little type A, so I've got to adjust a little bit. I'm going to go like right here. Hopefully I got that right, sorry. Sorry, I had to be quiet for just a second. So this is Stencil Art Romantic Roses. Let me put that in the thing. Here's what we're doing. We're doing this, here, here, and see how it's got this little cutout? This is what I'm looking at, just to make sure that I'm right on its placement. But you see how what was messing me up is I knew I had some leaves, but I have to make sure I've got this spot right here available for those leaves to go in. See how it fits right in there? So perfect. Okay. Fits right in that area is where the leaves are going to go. And you don't have to worry about that now. They will make sure that the stencil works perfectly for you. So we're going to go some Glacier Iris. Sorry, that took me a second. Originally from New Jersey. I think I just got that on my hand. Let's do our Glacier Iris on the bottom. Like I said, we'll be following along here. So I love that all of y'all are stopping in live. It's so fun to like have you here and chat and get to do all that. I love it. So thank you so much for being here for that reason. It's just fun to chat with people. I'd love to hear what crafty purchases you've made over this last little bit. I know we had Christmas here, and in case you weren't in another live, I'd love to hear what you got for Christmas and what you're planning to do. Are you working on cards along with me today, or are you just relaxing and enjoying watching some fun stencils come together. I love a stencil reveal. Stencil, hi, I'm glad to have you too. Thank you. We are working on stencils and we're talking about these little, when you have a really detailed stencil, these little protrusions that come off that you can kind of pick up with your brush. So you really want to make sure that you are following the flow of the stencil. You see from here, if I go backwards, I'm going to lift up that part of the stencil. So I'm going from this direction over, and that's so that I don't pick up that little spot. And you just have to kind of look at your stencil to make sure you know which way your points are going and those little pieces that lift up. Because Altenew stencils are so detailed, they often have little skinny parts that you need to be careful with if you want all that detail on your card. So make sure that you just kind of go with the flow of the stencil. Don't go backwards and lift these little areas up, or you're going to get results that you don't like as much. Okay, so we got this second level on here, and all these points go this way. So I'm going to take my thing and make sure I've got those points really nice by swooping in the direction that they go. Okay, so that one is done. We are done with Glacier. So let me just show you. This is when it gets real exciting. Hi, Brenda. Okay. Nancy, can you use chalk instead of ink on a stencil? So I am not sure on that. With chalk, are you doing anything to seal it in between, or does it mix with the next color? Oh, now we're starting to get it. Look at that. It would be pretty just if you left it that way, but wait till we add the super details. That is what makes this so amazing. So if you're new to stencils, this is a layered stencil, okay? So we're on layer 2. Now we're moving to layer 3. This specific stencil has 4 layers of flowers, which is perfect for if you are using Altenew inks because they come in packs of 4. So they come in like 4 colors, which makes it really easy to do these layered stencils. So I'm going to get this one nice and lined up. I think we're going to do our bottom flower first. I'm going to do the bottom flower first, which means I need to put a little tape on this one because it's just a little bit off. So, and that's probably just me moving the paper around. So just FYI, watch where you're going here. Get your lined up. That's why I use tape as well, because this is such a big design. It is easy to get just a little bit off, and it looks so good if you can keep it all straight. So you'll see me putting some tape right here, and that is because that is connected to our bigger flower, and this is our small flower. We're going to start with the small flower. I know I got myself a little crooked here. No worries. That's just me and my paper and how I did it. Now we're going to go Dreamy Periwinkle. This is going to start to look amazing because I love it when you start adding the details. Now this is a much darker ink, so I'm going to a darker color, and I'm going to start kind of in the middle and start adding it in. I love this color of ink too. Super beautiful. Yeah, I haven't ever tried using chalk with a stencil. Has anybody in the audience tried using chalk with a stencil? I don't use chalk in general, so I'm not real sure about that medium and what it involves. So I'm adding some Dreamy Periwinkle. I'm watching these little, as the stencil gets smaller, you don't have as many of those little out points that you have to be as gentle with. So you can add a little bit of darkness in your color. And these inner layers, I tend to just get coverage on. I don't do a whole lot of shading or anything like that. I just add some color, and it really makes a difference because it makes such a nice contrast to the others. Okay, here's how we're looking. Let's take a peek. Ooh, look at that. Okay, looks beautiful. So let's do our upper flower. I'm going to take these little pieces off, and we'll do it in Dreamy Periwinkle. Look at the difference in those two. Amazing. Yes, this is an amazing flower stencil, and it works with this technique that we're going to do so well. Okay, so I'm going to get this lined up with my top one. Sorry. And these are very forgiving. You know, even if you went exactly and you laid it perfectly, if you go over these, it's going to be fine. Like I could go over this right now, extend this flower, it'd be no big deal. I just like to line them up a certain way, and so that's what I did. I'm going to put this over here, so I'm not going out further. And if I notice on when I do my next layer, if I want some more purple down there, I can move the stencil around and add it. Because that bottom one is not as, it's more like layers of a flower, so it's really easy to add some extra layers. Thank you. Yes, thanks, Michelle. So one thing I was trying to see is, do you usually make cards ahead of time, or do you wait till there's an event? Like, especially when you're doing sympathy cards, do you make them ahead of time, or do you go ahead and make them all at once and then, or wait for the specific event? I'd love to know how y'all keep up with your card stash and what you like to do. So as the stencil gets more detailed, sometimes I think it's easier, especially with these darker colors. There's not as much opportunity to do a whole lot of highlighting, and they just look beautiful. And with ours, we're going to be doing some stuff kind of right in the middle, which is going to look really good. And we'll look at our original. This one has a little point right here, so I'm going to have to be careful with that. I'm going to hold it with my finger, make sure I get some good detail over that point. Okay. Alrighty. And Rachel, have you put in the code for the coupon today? Okay, I think we're about good on this top one here. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that is looking awesome. I love it. We only have one more layer of these flowers. I did get just a smidge outside right there. No big deal. I'll show you how to fix that. So layer 4 is the easiest of all because look, it's just got your details on it. I'm going to do my center first. Okay. Oh, sorry. Got it a little unstuck right when I was doing that. So right about here. Okay. Sorry, it takes me just a sec to get it nice and lined up. Okay. That's why I got all this tape over here, because even though I've got a sticky mat, you've only got a little bit of area of sticky that's on each side. So sometimes you still need to tape these down a little bit. Yeah, last minute. I understand that. I like to make these types of cards ahead of time if I can, just because if it's someone really close to you, sometimes it's hard to concentrate, but there's also a good reason to make a card at the time. You know, sometimes it's kind of healing to make a card right when you need it. So I tend to do a few birthday cards up front. I like to do some sympathy cards up front, and then I tend to go from there and move on and just like as things come up, I'll do some hello cards that I could add something to. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Beautiful. I got that one in Twilight, so look at how nice that looks. I think I might add that just a little bit darker. I'm gonna add just like a second layer of Twilight because I like the middle to be like super dark, super dark. Let me just add that a little bit harder. Okay, there you go. And these inks do kind of dry a little bit, and they're a little less bright as they dry, so I wanted to make sure I got those details. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Okay, let me see how I'm doing on my leaves and my bottom flower. Make sure I haven't missed anything on that. So here's my first leaf one. Seeing where that goes. Good. Goes right through here. We'll have a leaf there. Excellent. Okay. So now I've got you've got an outline of your stencil right here. So I'm following that outline and setting it down to create more beauty. So this is 4. This is layer 4. Like I said, sometimes I get a little off on my stencils between the two, so I tend to do the flowers individually just to be safe. You can do them all at once if you want, but I do a little bit better doing that. Oh yeah, it does look like a vintage photo, doesn't it? It does, I agree. So we're gonna add some darkness here to these, and I'm gonna come in pretty heavy-handed because we did that with the other one. But we only have these few little spots right here that we need to get. And then our flowers are done. We can add our beautiful, beautiful leaves now. Let me show you. Check out this reveal. I mean, is that fantastic or what? It's beautiful. That color is so nice. Yes, stenciling is nice and relaxing for sure. I'm sorry I got a little bit, had to think about it for a second while I was on live, because sometimes I'm just, stenciling away in a little daze, and, you just got to pay a little bit of attention. So here's what we've got. We've got our beautiful, this is going to be a beautiful leaf area, and this color is so gorgeous. So I'm a little crooked on this too, but that's just because I kind of made my flower a little crooked. Let me see here. I want to aim it up. Sorry, sometimes I have to look at what I'm doing here. 5, 6. So I'm going to add these. We're going to start with the green colors. I'm sorry, sometimes I can't talk and do this at the same time. We're going to do just 3 of the green colors. We're going to do Sage Stone, Olive Grove, and Mossy Granite. And let's hope this turns out right. Sometimes live can be a little hard. So what kind of cards, if you had to make a certain kind of card to kind of make sure you had everything ready, what would it be? I think I need to go down a little bit lower on that. Okay, y'all tell me. Oh, you don't have many stencils, Peggy? Yeah, it is. It's a fun thing to use. And technically, I'm sure you can sit this here and look at it and keep it all in one space, but I tend to move mine around. I know I want the center to be kind of right here because we're going to put that really beautiful sentiment. You can always use your layering guide if you want. We're right here on this layer, and I think that I need my flower. I may need to add just a little bit to my flower to make sure that it comes down far enough. I think I moved that stencil just a little bit. So let me see here. Let's look at our main stencil. Did we get it okay? Yeah, we'll be all right. Right in the middle is going to be fine. So I tilted this a little bit. We'll get it right. Here we go. We're going to use Sage Stone first. This is our light color. Okay. Okay, and this little shape matches, okay? So you may go over a little bit of purple, probably because I wasn't supposed to put purple there. You guys, sorry. I know I'm supposed to be an expert, but it's always just a little bit of an experiment as you go along, you know? There's no experts in card making. We're all just making stuff, and we're going to make it look beautiful. Hi from Streamwood. Hi, Gina. How are you? This is a beautiful color. Look at this. Oh, I love it. So this is one of those big areas. I'm just kind of getting it filled in with this Sage Stone. And this set of colors has a silver sprout, which is a little bit lighter, but I wanted to bring the greenery just a little bit darker, and it has 3 levels, so I decided to use the darker of the 3 levels. So one thing that we can do to add texture is was a complete accident. I was wrapping presents and I realized that I had this amazing ribbon that let me make sure this doesn't go here. Does that go there? Sorry, I need to see if I need to adjust. Look at that. I know we're gonna have a couple little ones here. Yeah, I think this guy needs to go right here. You can do it either way. I could just put a little bit of him on right here. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll just put a little bit right here. But this one kind of goes off the page, so we're not gonna get a whole lot of detail on that one. Okay, so we'll just get just a little bit of those right there. I think that I'm going to need to make this work here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they have a lot of standalone stencils. I'm gonna have to take this off. Y'all are making me nervous here. Gotta take my top cover off. All right, so questions yet? Anybody got any questions? We got lots here. Here's what I'm gonna do. I feel like this needs to come down just a little bit further, and I'm gonna add a little bit of layers to this. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more purple. We're gonna give it one more layer. It just makes me more comfortable getting it connected with these. Since I moved everything around, that was my fault, guys, sorry. Can you get them in the UK? That is a great question. Can you get Altenew in the UK? I would assume that you could ship it there, but whether there's a local store, I don't know. I'm gonna add just a little bit through here. We're just making sure that that connects. Give it one more light layer there. So this is what you do whenever you are not sure. You can always add on with stencils. Look, I can give it an extra petal layer. That looks really cute. I actually like it even bigger. All right, so we've got that. Next, we'll do our leaves. That's layer 7. Let's do layer 6. And we got lots of leaves here, so you're going to be making fun stuff. We got leaves that go everywhere. Lots of leaves. And once you get to this layer of the stencil, it's nice because a lot of times you can now use your sticky mat a little bit better. You need to make sure you're not going crazy and coming up over this area, but in general, you can use your sticky note there. So I'm gonna go Olive Grove for my next one. I'm gonna use a little bit darker brush because Olive Grove is pretty dark, and we will come in with our next layer of greenery. So once we get this stencil done, we are going to do some fun stuff. We're going to add texture to this in 2 different ways. We'll be looking at a fun embossing folder that came out with this release. It's called Texture Blocks. Really fun to use, really exciting one. I think y'all are gonna love it. And it just gives a little subtle texture to things. It's great for a background. It's just great for all kinds of things. So, add just a little bit of greenery right here. Excellent. Maybe a little bit right there. And this is a darker color, so we're coming in with a little bit darker, which means on this one, I need to follow those skinny lines of the stencil. So I'm gonna do the outside edges first, and then I'm gonna follow those skinny lines in to get some detail. So you see how I'm kind of coming around this leaf? Yeah, the purple and the green do. So Altenew said yes. Sorry, I don't know what Peggy was asking, that if I needed to address that, I'm sorry. If I needed to address that more, Rachel, just pop it up again, pop the question up again. All right, adding just a little bit more on these. Okay, y'all gotta see this. So this is Olive Grove. This is one of my favorite new colors. Oh my goodness, I love this color. And then we got mossy granite. Now this is going to be our small details, okay? So let's get all these off. So very small details. So just little lines that are already right here. Yeah, lots of good details that are gonna look amazing. I love the darkest layer. When I do the darkest layer, it's always so exciting. Okay, so mossy granite, I just love it because it's fast and it looks so good. Okay, so mossy granite is more of like, it's a little bit browner, I guess you could say. Okay, she thinks it's, okay, got it. She's got it figured out. Thank you, Rachel. If Rachel wasn't here, I don't know what I'd do. She helps me out so much. So we're putting in this darkest layer now. This is stencil number 7. And I'm not doing a whole lot of fanciness. I'm just adding color to give some detail to these images, okay? So we'll just add a little bit of color. And this is a little browner green. So, but it complements it so well. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see. Would you dare put this in an embossing folder after you did all that work? I think you should try it because I am so amazed at how well it turned out. Let me get my stencils out of the way. So I'm going to show you a couple tips and tricks with the embossing folder because you've got this beautiful image. You're probably scared to mess it up and you want to make sure you do this right, especially with an embossing folder that's geometric. You need to make sure that you've got that geometric one lined up. So having a mat like this is really helpful, but we're going to have to make sure it's level and all of that. So let me just show you the embossing folder we're going to use. It's called texture blocks, okay? And so it's got 4 sections. So what I like about this is that each section has a little bit different texture, which is kind of cool, okay? So it just makes, see how each block has something different? And this is called texture blocks. This will be in the supply list, but it gives you options that if you wanted to just do one section, you could do that. You could cut out a square and put it right here. That would be awesome. You can do it however you want to. So with mine, I held my thing and I decided how I was going to do it. Was I going to do it this way and add texture? You can turn it this way. It just depends on how you want your texture. And you can do either one. So this is the part when you're looking at this embossing folder. This one has lots of different textures to it. And so you really can almost get a different look each time you do it. It's amazing. It's awesome. So if you're going to do something like this, I'm going to do mine this way because I can line up. I've got the middle of my plate right here. So I can kind of line up right here and know that I'm pretty straight. You want to make sure that your middle line, I don't know if y'all can see that middle line. I'll try to point at it with a pen. There's a middle line of this embossing folder that puffs up. It actually makes this grid. Okay, something about a dot on the stencils, and there were some questions earlier about protective sleeves. Yeah, I definitely use protective sleeves. I'm sorry, a dot on the stencil. I don't know what that one's doing. Okay, so this has got a middle, so I'm lining it up. Do you see how this has a middle? I'm lining it up this way because you could put tape on this. You could put a little bit of adhesive on the back if you wanted to. You can use some dot roller adhesive to hold it in the right place, but you really need to line it up. So sometimes I'll use a little bit of this. I'm going to go ahead and get just a little bit of water on it, and then I'm going to add my adhesive. I know that seems counterintuitive, but it really does help. Okay, Arlene, does that stencil have a line up dot? No, it does not. So on these stencils, they have, and it's almost impossible for you to see, they have an outline right here. It's so hard to see. And then they have a second section. So that section, do you see how the second flower is kind of in a second section? you may have to move whenever Altenew does this line like this. A lot of times it means you're going to have to move your bottom layer just a little bit. If it didn't have that line, it means that all of it can go down exactly and be right. But I found with this one, I needed to move that bottom layer a little bit. So there's not a specific dot that layers it up. It does have a raised area, so you know this is the front of the stencil, and it does number them, but it is a little bit of messing with it to get it exactly right, and hopefully I'm not wrong on that. But that's my experience with those stencils, is that if there's a line, it means that there's two parts. And so on this one, let's see if we got it on. It was on number 2 that where the line happened. So the line right here, can y'all see that line? A lot of times there's a line in between the two flowers. It almost means treat that as 2 different stencils. That's why I adjusted this layer, because when I laid it on my paper, it didn't go exactly right, and I had to adjust that layer just a little bit. I hope that answers the question and why I was needing to look at it a little bit too. So I'm going to add just a little bit of dot adhesive to this, and I know I've already sprayed it with a little bit of water. And then we are going to carefully use the grid mat to line it up. And I'm going to line up this grid with the grid that is right here on my mat. Okay, you could use a ruler, you could do whatever you want to do, but it just generally helps you get it even. So you see how I've kind of lined those grid lines up, and I've got a little bit of adhesive on the back of this. And now I can line my paper up. Paper's ever so slightly smaller than an A2. Okay, so once I've got it in there, let's see if we can get it to stick. I want to fill these areas. I feel like this has more texture. I'm going to do this way. I'm sorry, guys. Hope y'all aren't dying out there. Yeah, that's great, Christine. Now, here's what we'll do. We are going to carefully close it. And then once you close it, you can still adjust. That adhesive is not working as I wanted it to. Sorry, I think it's because I got it wet. Let me add just a little bit more. I don't think I got enough on there. Okay, now let's do this. Once you get it right, don't move your hands. I'm going to hold it nice and tight, okay? So I've got it nice and tight. We added water. I did a little bit of this to help hold it in place. This is an Altenew dot runner that is just kind of light hold, so it helps. And then we're going to use the Spellbinders die cutting machine. It's this big one here. And we're going to use the regular embossing sandwich. So hang on. Okay, so what you do with this machine, but it can be any machine, you know, most of them have some kind of formula that tells you how to do a 3D embossing plate. So platform base, embossing plate, adapter plate, okay? And most of them have that formula. If they don't have it published, you usually can look it up. Oh yeah, thanks. Definitely pop over to my Facebook group. Okay, so I'm going to roll this through, and we're going to be shocked at the amazing texture. Alrighty, let's see what happens. I love a good embossing folder reveal. Let's see if we need to put any more pressure on it, or if we like it at this level. You can always go add some paper or something else to it if you want it to be a little bit deeper, but you risk your design a little bit when that happens, so just be careful. Okay, let's see how this is looking. Oh yeah, look at that. Can y'all see that texture? And it's different in each area. I love it. Let me hold it up for you. See how that beautiful line pops up too? I love the like perfect grids there. It's so nice. So definitely consider, I know it's hard to do because you've worked so hard on your stencil to go and just put it through an embossing folder, but if you're careful with it, I think you're gonna love the results, okay? So on this one, we're going to do the little thing that I found that I thought was just quite coincidence is I was wrapping Christmas presents and I realized that the ribbon that I was using is the exact same color. Look at that. And so I decided that I would make one of my lines this beautiful velvety ribbon. This ribbon is from Amazon, and like I said, it was just a coincidence that it was the right color, but look at it right here in the middle. And then we're gonna pop our sentiment over that. So I'm gonna trim this a little bit so we don't have too much of it. Yeah, I love that. I love that era too, creative. And so we've got this beautiful thing here, and then I'm going to show you this stamp set. Now there's several stamp sets from Altenew. This specific one is retired. I'm sorry, I did not realize that when I was making the card, but they've got lots of sympathy sets, and I put several of them on the supply list so that you could look them up. But this one that we're going to use a tag. We're going to use labels and tags too, okay? And I love this set. It's got this big, huge one, and it's got this nice little one that lots of sentiments fit on. So we are going to cut out white and stamp it, and then that is going to be our card. You could do all kinds of fun stuff with it, but let me show you the stamp that I used. I do not have any other sympathy stamps from Altenew, so I used this one. This is called Monsteras and Quotes. It is retired, but I'm sending thoughts and prayers your way today. You could use in sympathy, you could say with sympathy, you could say thinking of you, here for you. There's so many things. So make sure you do that. So let's get this cut out, stamped, and we'll finish this card. And then we can move on to our beautiful press plate, okay? So we got lots of fun things going on today. All right, so when I'm adding this ribbon, I'm going to use double-sided adhesive from Altenew and just make a little line of it. Hang on, I got to find it first. Let me see if this is thin enough. So you want a thin adhesive. I usually do this with ribbon where I go ahead and put adhesive on it and just hold it straight. And double-sided adhesive works really well that way. If you go off a little bit, go off. And then I can take that off and put it on my card pretty easily. And you can either trim the sides or you can wrap it around. If you wrap it around, it does add some bulk, so you'll need some foam tape on the back for that. So let me cut this out and we'll stamp it. See if I've got a little, we'll get our stamp wheel out. Let me set this part aside so I don't mess it up. I'm grabbing the stamp wheel. Tell me what kind of questions. Any questions, anything that you have so far? Okay, I'm going to cut out this little piece here. Turn on and just trim this up so that we got it, and then we'll stamp on it. So I tend to cut the piece first, then stamp. Yeah, the sentiments in that step are great. Sorry, I'm having to lean forward for this die cutting machine. Okay. So we got our beautiful tag. I love that this little tag set. This is an older tag set, and I love that it makes those little indentions. Look at that. See the little indentions around it? It just looks so perfect for this card. I love it. All right, I've got my stamp wheel upside down. That does not really matter, but I'll turn it so y'all aren't reading it upside down. Go ahead, and I'm just gonna stamp in black. I'm not gonna do anything super fancy. Just gonna stamp our little sentiment in regular black paper. Put this up so that I don't lose it. And we'll get out our thing. So this has got lots of sentiments. I think April recommended this set to me a long time ago, and it is a great set. The ones that I looked at now on Altenew, a lot of them say sympathy, deepest sympathy. They would work perfect for this as well. And I put those on the supply list so that you could use those. So we're just going to stamp in black, and then we're going to use a little bit of foam tape and finish up this card, and we will move to our press plate card. Next card that we're going to do is going to be this one, and it's got some really interesting texture ideas. Doesn't that tag look, oh, Arlene, I agree. That tag looks very professional. Ooh, pearls. That would be really nice, Laura Lee, to add pearls to this. It looks perfect for pearls, doesn't it? And this roses card makes me think of pearls. It's a great idea. Be cool if you had some pearl like twine or something that had it along it. That would look nice. Okay. Make sure I got that level. Sorry, I have to put my head in there. Okay, we'll do a quick stamp of that. I'm using Altenew Obsidian Black. So if y'all are enjoying live streams with Altenew and exclusive coupon codes, then make sure you tell Altenew thank you real quick. Thanks, Altenew. Thanks for supporting Nicki and letting her show us all these wonderful products. Look at that. Oh, that looks beautiful. Okay. You could always stamp it a second time if you want. That's one nice thing about this stamp wheel. If you decide you want to add one extra, you can. So I think Rachel's probably put the coupon in the chat. If you haven't yet, Rachel, would you throw that in there? Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Now we got our sentiment. We can put this card together. Gosh, that looks so cute, doesn't it? So tell me your favorite like sentiments to use with sympathy. Do you use like here for you? Do you use, tell me what you tend to use and I would love to hear about it. I'm going to get a couple things together. Let's put this away. Let's wipe off our stamp. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, thanks, Altenew. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. And y'all make sure you hit the thumbs up if you can, just so people find this on the replay. I am going to do a giveaway on the replay. I only have one thing to give away. I just had like an extra item. It's an extra stencil from Altenew. And so I'm going to give it away on the replay so that both the live and the replay have a chance to win it. What you need to tell me is what your favorite, if you have any stencils from Altenew, what your favorite is. And I will look at both the chat, and if you also put that comment on the replay, then I will draw from there. And I will be contacting you through YouTube so that you can win the stencil that I have, okay? It's a little extra stencil, and I might even send you a quick little card. All right, so here we go. Sorry, Rachel, I threw that in there at the last minute. Yeah, prayers for you and your family. That's a great one. Yeah, that's a great sentiment as well. So for this, I'm going to use some foam tape. You know, Altenew has great foam tape. I'm going to do some strips so that my little ribbon can go through the middle. I don't know if that's completely dry, so let me get it ready. We'll get all of these ready. I'm going to go ahead and add this, and then I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape on the back so that I can just wrap it around, okay? So I undid my double-sided adhesive, and I'm going to drape it across this center line, which is pretty easy to do because you got your center line right there. Try to make yourself level if you can. Okay. And then I have adhesive on it so I can fold it around and it's going to stick to the back. You don't need quite that much, so I'm going to cut this little area off. Okay. Yeah, Nancy, stencils from Altenew they excel at stencils. They excel at layers, really do great job with layers. Okay, so here's our beautiful middle. And I would suggest if you're new to stencils, using not just this rose, but there's some really amazing rose ones that I feel like give you a really big bang for your buck and would look very nice. So if you're getting started, check out the rose stencils. I think there might be a mega rose stencil. There's this one. If you're new to stencils, you may want to do something that's pretty simple with just a few, maybe 3 or 4 layers versus the 6 or 7 that we did this time. I think we did 7. So that can get a little bit more technical, and I don't want you to get frustrated. So if you are new to them, just give yourself some grace. Okay? Keep that there. All right, and so here's our sentiment that's popped up. Cosmo stencil, okay. Sweet Spring. I like hearing all these. Yeah, I know what you mean. Arlene's talking about how a specific sympathy card is so hard, and I agree because last year I had someone that we lost that was young, unexpected, and just I was having a really hard time, and I wanted to get something in the mail to her, and so I ended up sending a card that I had made that said something like "Help," like "Here for you," that kind of thing. But I ended up, after I was able to calm down a little bit, making the next um, making a personalized one. But yeah, sometimes it's hard when you are grieving too to get these ready, which is why I was kind of looking at doing that. And this ribbon isn't actually that thick. I think I'm just going to stick it on here. I don't think it's holding the card up too much. It's pretty flat. So I don't think I need that foam tape. I'm just going to add some double-sided adhesive or some glue to the back of this, and I think I'll be okay. So just going to kind of add some glue to the back. Okay. All right, let's do this and see how we do. Did y'all tell me what kind of card you wish you had more ready in your stash? Because I'd love to do some live streams with y'all, getting things ready and getting you prepared for the year. It's kind of nice in January to kind of just sit back and get ready for what's coming. I don't know if you're like me, but this is going to be a crazy year for me, and I enjoy having things pre-done so that I'm ready. This is my child's senior year, and so we've got lots of senior events, we've got lots of things going on, and it's just nice to have those pre-done. Look at how beautiful this card is. Oh my goodness. This one just took my breath away. It was just like I know somebody special is going to get this when they need it the most, and it just warmed my heart. So see where I was worried about my stencil not connecting? It didn't matter. We have this beautiful thing over it, and it did. I just had put a lighter layer there, but look at how beautiful. Just really turns out it's hard to mess stencils up. It's so hard to mess them up. So even if I'm fretting over it here because I'm live and my hands are shaking and I'm nervous, don't worry. If I can pull this off, you can do this. It's not too much. You may want to start with 3 or 4 layers and then move on. I will say having the colors in layers like this is really nice because you know that you've got so many layers of stencil and you've got this many layers of color. So it really works well with the Altenew inks, which I believe are on sale today, like up to 30% off. So make sure if you're interested in inks, that you check those out. I do believe those colors are sold out, but I could be wrong. So make sure you check on those Moonlit. And I think this one's called Sage Garden. It's got sage stone, olive grove, mossy granite in it. So let me get things switched over so that we can do the press plate card. Now this one, it would be a great one to do as a mass-produced card. If you need to make a lot and you need to make them fast, this is going to be pretty quick. It's going to take a few stages to get this kind of texture. I don't know if you can see the texture up here. It almost looks like it's like the texture of a spackled wall, and I did that on purpose. So I'm going to show you how to get that kind of texture on this card and to create fast, quick cards. I'm also going to show you how to make these perfect sentiment strips. These sentiment strips are amazing and they're so easy. So I'm going to show you how to do those. Both of those come from a press plate, which is called the Better Press system. So you do need to have a specific thing for these plates. You could use them with foil, you could use them like they're a stamp and get similar results, but I'm going to be using what's called the Better Press, okay? And if you haven't seen one, it looks like this. It's plates that press things down, okay? So very easy. It's a lot like a stamp, like if you had a stamp platform, it's a lot like stamping, but it is really fun. So we're going to use some monochromatic colors. We're going to use the evening gray, and I've already pre-cut one. And we're going to use this a couple times because we're going to do a couple different press plate things. So we're going to use evening gray. It's just kind of a gray color. The nice thing about Altenew cardstock is that they have matching inks, okay? So evening gray also has an ink that's the similar color, But not only does it have an ink that's a similar color, it has the next step darker. And so when you go the next step darker, that's where we're getting this image from. We're getting the lighter color that matches underneath a darker ink print. And so I'm going to show you how I did this. I did this in a couple layers, and this is not something that I normally do. It was something I was trying out as an experiment, and it turned out so good that I have to show you. So when you are doing the press plate, you want to line up your paper and barely tape it, because where you tape is not going to get the ink. So you want to tape it down. Let me see where my tape is. Probably stuck to me. Okay, so I'm taping these little edges down, just ever so slightly taped down. And then we're going to get out our press plate. Okay, so that is ready. Okay, now I'm going to move it aside and I'll show you the technique that I did. Let me grab the press plate. This is what a press plate looks like. It's metal, and do you see how it has this image in it? So this is going to leave the outline of the beautiful flowers in the color of the original paper. So if that was white, the outline would be white. It is evening gray, so the outline will be evening gray, and then it's going to put color everywhere else in this. So I'm going to line up my plate here. Just trying to make sure it's even. Okay. And then here's what I stumbled upon that worked so well for me. One, I'm going to check that, make sure that my paper fits over here. Yeah, and see this could go for like almost a 5x7 image. It's bigger than an A2, so you got good coverage. But here's what I stumbled upon. I was trying to see what I could do with heat embossing and press plates. And so it was one day, and I just decided, well, I'm going to add some Versamark to it. And when it didn't seem like it had enough color differentiation. So then I decided to add other things to it, and that's where we got all that texture. So let's start with our Versamark, and this could be any type of embossing pad, but you're just getting some ink down to kind of get the pad wet, wet. I'll show you just a second. Just kind of pouncing it on here, pouncing and moving your hand just a little bit. These plates almost feel soft, okay? So they're very interesting, but I'm going to get some of this embossing around here. And this is kind of getting the plate, think of it as getting the plate wet, okay? I'll stamp some of it off so that I'm not really mixing my ink, but it's just getting something down on the plate, and that makes a difference when you're going to be blending things. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp some of it off by sending this through the better press, sending the better press through a die cutting machine. I want to know too, guys, what is your favorite way to add texture to a card? Do you have a way that do you use embossing folders a lot? What's your favorite? I'm going to roll this through. Sorry, makes a lot of noise. Okay. All right. No, these are not also called cover plates. They're called better press plates. So cover plates are more of a cutting device. This is not a cutting. So see how that was very light? That's what I wanted it to be. And I decided that, okay, well, I want more definition. So I'm going to add ink to this plate. And I'm going to use the next level of color. So when you're looking at evening gray, I'm going to show you the colors. Evening gray is in this family of colors, okay? This is the color of the cardstock. This is the color I'm going to use to add some texture. Yeah, cover plate dies are a really fun way to add texture. You know, I've done quite a few videos on those. I love those. They're super fun. So we're going to use the middle color on this. And we're going to get a blending brush, okay? I'm going to use a blending brush, but I'm going to take this directly to the paper or to the thing first. Okay. So we're just adding some ink. Get some ink down. And it kind of looks like a mess when you're doing it. So just FYI, it's gonna look like a mess, but we're gonna make this more textured. Hang on. Just getting some ink down. And it kind of bubbles up a little bit. So here's what I'm gonna do to kind of add to my texture, because I don't want those streaks like that. So what I decided to do was to start dabbing with this. And so I'm dabbing with my brush, and I'm taking away, if I've got too much, like right through here, I'm taking that away just a little bit, okay? And keeping it from streaking. So just careful dabbing. Oh yeah, you definitely need to use a better press. It is probably one of the easiest learning curves, because it's basically just a stamp. Like, you can just kind of stamp with it. So I'm going to use this brush and just kind of dab off some of the streakiness of this plate. And if you get it too dark somewhere, you can use your brush and kind of move that darkness around a little bit. No big deal. But dabbing seemed to work best for me to create texture. And it's just, and this brush is getting a lot of it on there, so you could use it to blend if you wanted to, but the dabbing was really what made a difference for me. I think that's the second person who's mentioned the Golden Days stencil. I need to know what that is. I don't know which one that one is. Okay, so we've got kind of like a dappled texture to this ink now. Kind of dabbed it off. Just make sure I don't have any real streakiness anywhere. And then we're going to add this to the press plate, okay? I feel like that's a little bit too dark right there. And you just do it till you're satisfied. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to put this over it, and then I'm going to send it back through that machine. So tell me what the Golden Days stencil is by Altenew that you love. Is it flowers? Is it something else that's a stencil? I'd love to hear about that. Sorry, it always makes that noise. Now you want to carefully pull it out like this and not press it down again. So don't hit that top plate again. Let's see how it's looking. We can always do this multiple times if you want. These are magnets, so I'm just lifting up. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? Do you see all that texture? I got so excited about that. I don't know if y'all are as excited about that as I am, but look at all that texture just from dabbing my brush. It looks like it's a fabric. You see that? I just love it. And this is like a perfect sympathy card. You could do this in any color. If you've got a coordinating ink and a coordinating cardstock, we could do this in purple. We could do it in red. We could do pink. We could do so many different things. It's so beautiful. Let me get this cleaned off because we're going to do more pressing to show you some more things. So let me just kind of wipe off the press plate. Oh yeah, thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you love it. Thanks. I love how it turned out. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this press plate off. These are held down by magnets, so sometimes you'll see me like trying to get it off there can be a little bit hard. Almost have to get it moving because it's held on by a magnet. There we go. Okay, now to make this perfectly coordinated, I'm going to set this aside to dry, and then we're going to create some amazingly coordinated sentiments. I love it when I make a monochromatic. That's fun, Peggy. Yeah, catch the replay. Make sure that you comment on the replay if you want a chance to win the stencil that I'm giving away, okay? I think the stencil is Cable Knits, which came out a couple months ago. So make sure you check that. And then I'm going to pop up while I'm getting the sentiments ready. Let me pop up the coupon for Altenew so that you can see it. So I'm going to pop, nope, that's not the right one. Hold on. This one. There it is. Sorry, helps if I pick the right one. So I'm going to carefully peel this off while y'all grab that coupon. And I'm going to set it aside because it is wet. It needs to dry. And then we're gonna make some sentiments, okay? See how where my tape is? You can see that I did that. So I'm gonna trim this panel down. So it never hurts to really be careful where you put that tape because it is gonna show. Okay, so there's my coupon code. I would love for y'all to use that if you are shopping with Altenew this week. How many of you have already bought part of the January release? Like, hit the thumbs up if you have, or tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear. Okay. Now, hang on to that brush that you've got all this ink on because we're going to use that in just a second as well. So let's use these. These are press plates as well. And Altenew has tons of them. They're called solid sentiments, and they come in these strips, okay? Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, Cheryl, for telling me what that was. Golden is a large wild rose. Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up. I'm going to try to remember that. Might need to write it down because I got to know. And so not only does this have sentiment strips, it cuts them out for you, okay? So I'm going to show you some of these and which one I used. There are so many different ones, so let's just pull them all out. And you could do many of these. So the main sentiment that I'm going to use is here for you. And then I need something small that goes with here for you. I thought that these did the best. Hang on, I got to find them first. This one right here, love you so much, is what I ended up using. It just seemed like it fit the best with it. So I love that this one has happy birthday. So I think this is the original one, solid strips. Okay, super, you're gonna see how it works and you're gonna be amazed. Okay, so awesome. Now we're gonna be using this die with it. Okay, and we're gonna press this on the press plate. So you're gonna get tons of sentiments at one time. And here's my love you so much, got it. I'm gonna show you the best type of ink to use, and I'm going to show you how easy this is because it's so nice. Okay, those are on my sorry, it's hard to talk and do this at the same time. Those are definitely on my supply list. When I say definitely, I'm like 99% sure I put those on the supply list. Yes, and so we will press this as well. The way I'm going to do it in coordinating colors, so we're going to use that same evening gray. So we're going to need a press here. We're going to need a piece of paper, which I've got to locate the gray really quick. Got any questions? Thank you, Michelle. Thanks. Yeah, they are great sentiments. Like I love it that I can just cut them all out once. I can't wait to show you. I just need to locate the gray paper, which I put somewhere. Here it is. So for these, they're about the size of an A2. So I'm going to get an A2 piece that I've already cut out here. And I'm going to go ahead and get out our next one too. We're going to do that one as well. So I love perfectly coordinating my cards. And this is one of those ways where I'm going to do the same and just the little details make such a difference. Okay, so we're going to have our words are going to end up being the color of the evening gray. And then all around them is going to be black. So it's going to look really nice. It's not going to be like a bright white all of a sudden on this card. Okay, so I'm going to put some tape on to hold this down. And then we'll put our plate on and get it nice and inked up. Okay. So when you are adding texture, do you tend to reach for embossing folders? What do you reach for? And also, I just want to tell y'all too, if you're kind of chiming in a little bit late, I do have a free class coming up, and it's going to be with Altenew embossing folders. And it is on January 29th through the 31st. I will be doing tons of lives with that summit. It's called the Card Making Stash Summit. You cannot sign up till Monday, so make sure you're on my email list, and I will send you that link to get signed up. This is the absolute best ink for using with press plates if you want a really nice, beautiful black color, okay? So if you do, I would say use Obsidian. So this is what you do. You just kind of tap and swirl a little bit and get a good, nice amount of color down. It takes a little bit of time, probably more than a stamp, but it delivers amazing results. So Take your time, get it nice and covered before you send it through the press. And I love that I can do so many at one time. Like I keep these in the back in a little envelope, and then I can pull them out for any card that I want. Okay. I think I've got pretty good coverage there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to use this little towel to wipe off the extra ink over here. It can stain your plate, just FYI. You can use a little piece of plastic on it if you don't want it to do that, but I don't really mind. Okay, so I'm going to put this over the top. Are any of y'all attending the Nashville Craft Retreat? Love to hear if we got any fans going. I'm going to be teaching there in May. Oh, you signed up with, yes, with Justine. Yeah, try to hang on the signups for the Card Making Stash Summit. Justine runs the summit, but she sends out an email before the rest of the affiliates, so it doesn't give me credit if you sign up with her. So just try to think whenever those summits are coming out. I promise I will let you know if I'm going to be at them so that you can sign up with my link. That just helps me get to be invited back as a speaker. Oh my goodness. Look at how perfect that is. So beautiful. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Ah, I love it. Okay, so that's a little wet. Let me clean this off, and then I'll show you how it cuts all of it out at once, and we can look at it. I'm gonna wipe that plate off just a little bit. Oh no, that's fine, Beth. It's just the way those summits work. I was just trying to catch people before they signed up. But no worries. Justine will be happy that you're there. I'll be happy that you're there. Just a little FYI. It's going to happen again too, by the way. So the other thing that'll be coming up in February is the Card Maker Success Summit. And so for me, who is doing a class and an affiliate, I am not allowed to promote that until after Brandy has announced it to everyone. So if you see her announce it and you can hang on, don't worry, we won't run out of seats. Wait till I send out a link. Okay, that just helps me out. Look at how sharp, yeah, perfectly sharp. And you'll actually see there is a little bit of a line there. I just saw it on here. There was a little hair. And so I got just a smidge of hair in that. And can you see that one little line in between love you so much? But it's not going to matter because this is going to cut out, and it didn't go over any of the wording. It just kind of got right there. So make sure you check it. If you're not live, just check it. Make sure you haven't got any hair or fuzz stuck to it, and it'll make an amazing impression for you. Okay, so we're going to send this through a die cutting machine, giving it just a minute, and I'm kind of moving slow to make sure it gets some time to dry. Okay. So this is what we're going to use to cut it. This is a die specifically for this, okay? And it works so nicely. So I'm going to get that. I might put a little heat on it for just a second, just to make sure it's good and dry, because that is a lot of ink on there. Yeah, Deborah, it does. I know, and then they're not going to say that it makes a difference who you sign up with, but it does. So that's why I'm just trying to educate people. Like, hey, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me. It makes a difference on if you get invited back, and if you buy anything there, it goes to the link of the person that you signed up with. So it's just one of those things that I'm trying to get people to know what it is so that they got it. No worries if you've already signed up. I'll be glad to have you there. I'll be in all kinds of Zooms, and we'll have lots of fun. We'll have lots of fun. All right, so I'm going to line this up. I think I've got it dry enough. And we're going to cut all of these at one time. You can tell where this goes because it's got one big opening for this. So you'll know that it's right if it lines up. Okay? All right. So it's not, it's good. You just want to make sure you've got it nice and lined up. Look at how fast that was, though. Thanks so much, Deborah. I appreciate that. Okay, so just make sure your lines are lined up, that everything looks pretty even. You're not cutting any of them off. So if you need to adjust, you can. But that looks, I mean, basically how it went on there is perfect. Okay, and then watch what happens. Watch what happens. Let me turn this one on. I'm just amazed. This is perfect for mass producing. If you decide you want to make tons of cards, this is the way to do it. I love having all these little sentiment strips. So one of my favorite things they came out with this year was these sentiment strips. They're just so fun, and I love that you can do this. Cut it out and watch. We have so many. I'm going to show you. And they all have the perfect black outline, so you can just kind of punch them out. Here's my little tool. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, look at all that. Just so many beautiful sentiments. I love doing this. It's a really fun thing if you feel like you're not motivated or something and you just want to make sentiments to have. It's kind of a fun process. It's a little therapeutic just to cut them out, stamp them, cut them out, stamp them, cut them out. I love doing that. So look at how these look. Oh my goodness. And see, that's all that's left is you just got your cutout and you're good. How, isn't that genius? I think that's such a genius idea. I'm not sure who came up with that at Altenew, but whoever did, it makes so much of a difference. Okay, so we're gonna look at these. We've got all different things. We've got happy birthday. We've got you've got this. I miss you, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna do love you so much. So I'm gonna use this one, love you so much. And then we're gonna do a little bit bigger sentiment. So I'm kind of coming together, instead of just using straight sympathy, I wanted to create some that if you're thinking about what you have in your stash, you could probably come up with these kinds of sentiments and they would work. So to keep this nice and coordinated, the sentiment is going to get cut out of this evening gray, and we're going to do a little bit of ink blending on it as well. So let me grab the sentiment, which is going to be from this set called Sweet Expressions. So this is an older set, Sweet Expressions. I'm going to use this here for you. Oh, thank you, Melanie. No worries. So this right here is here for you. It's got an outline and it's got the die. Let's see if I cut a big enough piece of paper to fit it. I can do this one. I need to get just a little bit bigger one for my outline. That was a scrap, so I was hoping it would work, but it didn't. I need it just a little bit bigger, which it looks like I cut out a piece right here. So let me cut out just a little bit bigger piece, and then I'll show you how I perfectly coordinated these. Okay. I love, there's something too about a card that's all monochromatic, that there's just something kind of elegant about it. And so I think it works really well as a sympathy card because you can do those types of things. Yeah, Joyce, I love that you can cut them like that too. That's so fun. Yeah, y'all remember, if you catch the replay, say, hey, I'm here on the replay, and say hi to me, okay? Make sure you comment. I'd love to hear if you're making your sympathy cards ahead of time, or if you do them as the time comes. So I'm going to cut this one out first. We'll do here for you. This is the shadow. And I'm going to keep this one the same color, so we'll keep it pretty simple. I don't know what Rachel's putting in there. Stitched with Love, add-on die. I guess somebody asked her for that. So here's the outline. And then this is going to be the words. And before I do the words, I'm going to add a little bit of ink to this so that I can have this perfectly coordinated card. So we already have ink on this. You can do this, but I think it's easier just to take the ink pad and change the color of this paper, okay? So you could use moon rock paper if you have it. If you don't have it, you can use your ink pad and create moon rock paper. So you can kind of just do a little bit of ink, use your brush. You're just getting a darker color. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So I'm just getting this color down. I spread it around with a brush a little bit just to make sure it's even. And then I only want to make it big enough for here. Okay. So it needs to go down just a little further. And it's okay if it's got some variation in it because the card has a variation in it, so it's no big deal. I'm just adding some ink and smoothing it in. And we're going to try to make it about the size of this here for you. You could do it after you cut it, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Let me use this. I want to take it right to the edge, so I'm going to use this little thing as my backup here. Okay. And then the here part sticks up just a little bit, so let's make sure we got it. That little H right there at the top needs a little bit more. So like I said, you could do this with cardstock if you've got the cardstock. That's fine. If you're low on cardstock or don't have the right color, use your ink pads. Very easy to ink swipe it. Use a little blending brush and get yourself a nice dark colored sentiment. So I'm going to do just a little bit more right here where the U hits, and I think we'll be good. Oh, sorry. The die. So I listed the wrong thing in my list, I think. What? Yeah, that's a great idea too, to save the negative. Yeah. So the die that I am using, were you talking about for the sentiments, or are you talking about for this? Yeah, I do them in batches. That's a good idea, Beth. So supply list, we've got these things. This is what we did recently, so I'm going to see if that's what you're talking about. We got solid sentiments. We've got sweet expressions. And then the plate is called Whispers, Wildflower Whispers. I'm not sure which one you're asking for. I'm sorry, Rachel. Sometimes it scrolls past what you're saying, so I can't get all of it. Okay, so we're going to use this and cut out here for you. See how I got the color where it fits this die? It looked like a mess. Oh, the one I'm using again. Okay, sorry. It's this one. It's called Solid Sentiments, and we are using the, I think it's the original. It's just called One Go Solid Sentiments. I think it's the original. And then they start changing it, like they've got Gratitude Edition and that kind of thing. Oh, the Timeless one's not on my list. Okay, sorry. Timeless. Sorry, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Rachel. Rachel's figuring it out. I'm sorry, Rachel. Okay. The Timeless sets, yes, those are great. All right, so I'm going to cut this out. And then we're going to use it here. Sorry, I might have had Timeless on this side, so I didn't use these, okay? So I've got, when I store my stamps and dies, I put 2 in, so it may have been that I have flashed up Timeless Sentiments too, which we're not using, but we're using this one, Sweet Expression. So I've got 2 sets of dies in this, so I think that's why it's showing up. I'm sorry, that's why I didn't put it on the list either, okay? All right. So now we have this beautiful sentiment that looks amazing. We got a great look here. Hang on, I'm gonna get all this off of here. All right, and I'll use my little tool to punch these out. This tool is from Altenew. It has a little kind of like a piercing thing on one side, and then it's got the little wax that picks up stuff on the other. Look at how beautiful that's gonna look. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Yeah, doesn't that look nice? I love those Timeless Sentiment sets. Those are great. Okay, so here's kind of where we are right now. We got this beautiful sentiment, our little love you so much. And then I decided, okay, I'm gonna have to add even more texture. So I found, this is another little find, is this, I had ordered lots of ribbon for Christmas, and for some reason one of the wrapping papers came with this one, And I thought, that is like basically evening gray. Look at that. It's like a silk ribbon and it's the perfect color. I love how that happens. So that was just from Amazon. So let me get this panel cut just a little bit. We'll get it flat. So it does have a lot of ink on it. So with this cardstock, it's a lighter weight cardstock. So you may feel like it's warping a little bit. We'll put some foam tape on the back to make sure that panel stays straight, and we'll get this card put together. Thank you guys. Thanks so much, everyone. All right, we'll play with this beautiful ribbon. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna do some fun stuff with that ribbon too. So let me trim this down. I'm gonna use just a quick trimmer. And this is basically because when you do these, you get little areas where you don't get any ink because you have to tape it down. So I'm just trimming that off. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna trim this off. Okay, yay. And then there's one little spot along the bottom. All right, now our panel is completely inked. So that looks amazing. We're going to do some foam tape on the back to kind of hold it flat. I am actually going to use, I'm going to use a panel of foam tape here. This is like a double-sided adhesive foam. And it's just helpful when you're going along and making a panel flat. You can also take Altenew foam tape and strip it across the back, but I have some of these, and so I'm going to use this, especially for it being a live stream. Tell me in comments too, what are y'all hoping to see this year? Are there some techniques you've been interested in? Anything that you want me to do a live stream on that you've been thinking about? I'm going to go ahead and cut my ribbon and put it on the back as well. This ribbon is a silk, so it's very thin, but it feels wonderful. And I'm going to put it along the bottom here. For this one, because it's a thinner ribbon, I'm not going to add the adhesive all the way to the back. I'm going to put some adhesive right back here with some strips and attach it that way. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to put a little strip here and a little strip here. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet, Jen. That is so sweet. Put one right there, and then we will remove the adhesive backing and attach this ribbon. Oh, thanks so much. I don't know if y'all are on Instagram or not, but Instagram's been a little strange lately. I feel like there's less people on there, and I'm putting lots of stuff on there. So if you want like daily inspiration, make sure you're following me on Instagram. I do a lot of short videos, and we're going to have an Instagram hop on Sunday for Altenew with lots of prizes. So you definitely want to check that out. Look at how beautiful that looks. Now I've got this put down, and I've taken off the adhesive here. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Thanks so much, Cheryl. I'm struggling a little today, and I'm glad to hear that you like it. Sorry, that first little part was just getting me, I guess. Okay, now to get your panel flat, I tend to barely place this, and then I'm going to slowly add it to the rest and press my panel down. Try to keep my panel as flat as possible. See how that keeps it flat? You can do the same thing with foam tape, just press it on. Okay, now we'll put our sentiment on here. We're going to create a little bow, which I actually did by cutting this in half because I needed a smaller bow. I'm going to go about this long. I don't think I need that much, but okay. And then I'm going to cut this in half too so we can make a smaller bow. Should get my little fabric scissors, shouldn't I? This is not working great. Let's see if these will. I should have brought my fabric scissors in. Wonder what happens if I tear it. Oh. Thank you, Michelle. I love, next week will be, on my channel will be fun folds. I think I've got like a little adhesive on this and it's causing trouble. That's why you're supposed to clean your scissors. I try to do that. There we go. That's the better cut. So I've got some really fun folds for Valentine's coming up next week on Friday. I have an Instagram hop on Sunday with Altenew, and I have a YouTube short hop with Altenew coming up too. So lots of fun stuff coming. Okay, let's glue this part on. So tell me, what colors would you make this card? Thank you, Patty. So the short videos recently have started going on Facebook as well. So yes, you can see them in both places. That is very true. I've gotten, Facebook has really been growing. So if you haven't followed me on Facebook, my page is Nicki Hearts Cards. Just type it in and you can see all those videos coming out there too. And Facebook recently did a thing where I can send you links. Like if it's a link to a video, I can send it to you on Facebook messages, which is a very new thing. So that's why I'm getting more short video on there so that I can help you with things that I used to only be able to do on Instagram. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so, and I do a little bit different of those short form videos on YouTube. A lot of times I will lengthen them a little bit for YouTube. If I do a YouTube short, it won't be exactly the same thing as the reel. It usually has a little bit more in it. And that's just because certain platforms like certain lengths of video. And so it's just nice to get a little different if you want to. Almost everything that I do a reel on, though, has a video for you, a full tutorial. So if you're ever worried that it's too short or anything like that, then don't worry. I always have something to follow up with it. A blog post, something. There we go. So I'm using this acrylic block to get these little bitty letters down. It just makes it easier. So we've got "here for you" that I'm going to put right here. Look at how good that looks on there. Oh, looks adorable. Yes, blue would be beautiful. Yeah, that would be really nice. So I've got my "love you so much" that I'm going to put right here. And then this, we'll see if I cut it long enough to do a bow. If not, I'll just show you my finished bow over here. So I bought this new bow making thing that is actually quite interesting, and I'm practicing with it. So you may see that coming up soon, is a little thing to help me make bows, but I'm just kind of making them by hand right now. So I like that this silk type ribbon has these frayed edges. It just makes it look like even more texture. Oh, Jen, you would love the links to be sent to you. The links will be in the pinned comment that you can click on, or I could try to send it to you through YouTube, but it would be easier for me to do that if you comment on the replay, or you can just copy and paste from the chat um, where she's putting in links. Sorry. Oh yeah, blue like the color of my shirt. Yep, that would be beautiful. I think I was just kind of leaning towards, it's a sympathy card, and I was deciding if I wanted to go super colorful. And since I went so colorful on the other one, I thought that I would just kind of keep it as a monochromatic just to show you, because some people like to keep their sympathy cards, you know, looking a little bit more in tune with the situation. So I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive to this. Yeah, pink hues would be beautiful. I do love pink cards. Oh, I love pink cards. I just wasn't sure about a pink card for sympathy. What do you think about that? Yeah, bows. I bought this bow maker from a place on Etsy, and it's still, you still have to practice, but it does do a good job. So I'll be showing that, I'm sure, soon, just to show y'all what I've been doing with bows. But I love using fabric and different textures on my cards because it just gives them that extra little excitement. You know, it's just kind of exciting. So I'm going to put a little double-sided adhesive. We'll add this, and then this one we're going to put a strip of adhesive as well. I'm going to have to go real small with this adhesive. I have to go an 1/8 inch, I think. So I'm getting out a different one. don't think I have this size in Altenew. I think they might have it, but I'm not sure that I own it. So when you're doing your bow, you can make it as big or as little as you want. Mine, I probably need to trim this little spot off, but I'm going to get everything else placed first because I can always change the size of the bow, but I can't change the size of the sentiments. Ooh, purple would be lovely. I agree. Does anybody have any press plate suggestions? Y'all want any videos on that? Or you good? Or do you not have one so it doesn't matter? I would love, I'm doing a new class on embossing folders for that summit that I think y'all are going to really like. It's called From Basic to Advanced. And we'll do easy embossing folder cards, and then we'll do a hard embossing folder card to kind of up your skills a little bit. It's going to be super fun. And that's January 29th through the 31st with the Card Making Stash Summit. I'll be using Altenew folders. We'll be using the, what's it called? Doily, what is the name of the folder? Doily, Blooming Doily, I believe is the name of it. So I like this one for a sympathy card because, like, if it's a friend, I want them to know that I love them and I care and I'm thinking about them. And sometimes I don't want to just say with sympathy. Like I kind of like to make it a little bit more exciting or more touching, or I don't know how to say that. Yeah, videos on press plates. Okay, cool. Very good. I'm going to put just like a dot of foam adhesive behind this. And we're going to see if that'll hold this little bow. A lot of times I'll use like a glue dot or something like that. Just gotta make sure my foam fits. But my glue dots are over in a different place, so. Ooh, that's gonna look cute. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's gonna look adorable. Look at this little guy. Oh my goodness. So this has some little fuzzy pieces, but I kind of like that. So that's how that turns out. I love press plates for mass producing especially. They can be so much fun. Yeah, it definitely can even, yeah, so many things. Even if you're just supporting someone, this one doesn't have to be sympathy, just like Rachel said. Yeah, yeah. So beautiful. All right, let me show you the other one that we made so that you can see. We've got this one, and then this I did for the release, but we did not make this card today. This one uses the new watercolors, which is really fun. But I just wanted to keep it mainly sympathy, so I focused on these two today. Let me show you those up close and then we'll review what we used. I would love to answer questions if you have any questions. Tell me what else you're wanting in content. You know I love embossing folders. You know I love shimmer relief paste. I love press plates. I just love experimenting. So if there is something that you love seeing, then make sure to let me know in the comments so that I make that as part of the plan for the rest of the year, okay? And thank you so much. Tell Rachel thank you for putting all these links in. Will you put the coupon code in one more time for them, please, Rachel? Yeah, so here's what we did. We created, so this whole thing was about creating texture. So let me show you the ways that we created texture today, so that if you're chiming in right at the last minute and you want to catch the replay, you'll know what we did. So we created a monochromatic card with a press plate. We did this nice textury background. So it almost to me looks like fabric on the background. And we did that with an experiment that I created, and I just love how it turned out. It looks really cool. And it keeps it from making those streaky marks if your ink is kind of streaky. So it really does create some fun. And then on this one, so not only did we do our nice ink blending on the back of this press plate that made this look textured, we added our silk ribbon that I found. And then on this one, we did an embossing folder. Let me show you that embossing folder. And it's so scary to put your beautiful stenciled image in an embossing folder, but I'm telling you, there's always a way. Even if you mess it up, it looks amazing. Look at this. Beautiful. So, yes, there are limitations for the code. I believe it's only good until the 11th, and I think you can't use it with other codes. Yeah. So this is the plate that we used. We did Texture Blocks 3D. Sorry, it just clicked off. Okay. And then I guess it just wanted me to say hi to you. And then here it is. Look at all that. And so we created texture with our ink blending. We created texture with our embossing folder. We added texture right here with a little velvet ribbon. And then we popped up our sentiment just to give it even more excitement. And I think that it just turned out amazing. So let me set the products right beside them so that you know what we used here. Go here, here. How about this? We used Wildflower Whispers. That's the press plate here. This is the 3D embossing folder. And we used our beautiful stencil set in Majestic Roses. Okay, that's what this one is. And then look at all these colors. There's a sale on ink, so you may want to check out the colors. We use this beautiful set of purples, which is, I believe, called Moonlit something. And then we use these nice, beautiful greens that I think are called Sage Garden. They look so good together. And then on this one, we used colored cardstock and we used Moon Rock ink. So we used our Evening Gray cardstock, started out this color, then we pressed in our image and used this ink plus a little special technique that you may want to see. Okay. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. If you are just now popping in, you may want to catch the replay. Make sure you comment on that replay for a chance to win a stencil from Altenew. And make sure you use my link to use that coupon code this weekend if you are interested in doing any shopping. So I hope that you all had a great day. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I hope to see you again soon. I will be back for Altenew next month, and I will definitely be back on my channel next week with a new video on fun folds. So I hope to see you soon. Make sure you comment in the replay as well for extra chances to win. Thanks so much. If you hadn't hit it, hit the like. And thank you, Rachel, for your help. Thank you, Mitzi, for being here. See you later. Bye.